The $2,000 phone that kind of tried to replace my laptop. I mean, at least it has really rivaled it over the past few weeks by letting me knock out things that I would normally run to my laptop for. What is going on, y'all? Tech me out here. The phone I am speaking about is the stunning and gorgeous Samsung Galaxy Z Fold 7. I've had it since it was announced at Samsung Unpacked, and I got to take one home along with the Flip 7 and the Galaxy Watch. Now, I did do a little quick unboxing of the Z Fold 7 so I could go ahead and start using it. But overall, packaging is still bare bones. You get the charging cable, a SIM eject pin, and some documentation. Now in hand, this feels like any other standard phone, like my iPhone, even like the S25 Ultra here. We got the Z Fold 7 on the bottom, the S25 Ultra on the top. And as you can see, they're pretty much the same in terms of size. So it feels like your regular, phone that you would normally use. It's nothing that you got to get accustomed to or adjusted to in using this, other than now having the option to open the phone up to this stunning inner display, which gives you, an 8-inch screen inside that is just like so nice, man. I will say I don't feel forced to open the phone up to this look as I did in the past, because using the cover display is fine. There's no weird resizing of things on the cover screen. Like in the past, it felt like shrunken in, and now it feels normal, like I don't feel like I have to sacrifice my experience on the cover display as I once did. And the Z Fold 7, it is currently the thinnest fold on the market, which I now understand the depth of that statement because it really changed how I use this. I actually found myself wanting to reach for this to use it not just as a tablet, but like my traditional phone. It really impacts my user experience to the utmost because it feels familiar in hand now versus like a brick or a tablet impersonating a phone. And the hinge, it feels durable when opening and closing the phone. One thing I will say is like when it comes to opening up the phone, like to get to the inner display, you really have to like be intentional about where you place your fingers. So you want to make sure you get your thumbs right here, because anywhere else is not going to open, and it is very much a two-handed action. It's very hard to open it with just one hand because you feel the resistance. So you will need both hands to open this up. But just something to know. I've almost dropped the phone a few times with how you got to open it. One thing I do want to mention is this phone is super slippery. I really feel like I need to consider a case for it. I don't want one, like that, because I love the slim form factor of it as is. But this is still the phone that when in your pocket, especially your sweatpants pocket, it will slide out randomly and be on the floor. And because of the way you have to open up the phone to get to the inner display, it just makes the phone that much slipper. It just makes the phone that much more slippery. So yeah, in short, I'll get a case. But one thing I will say is the screen is very gorgeous, but still reflective. If nothing more, I would have at least loved a more non-reflective screen on the cover display. Even though the screen is a bit reflective, I am still absolutely in love with it. I'm now, for the first time, probably using my phone closed just as much as I use it open. In the past, I felt like the screen just wasn't wide enough to feel like my traditional phone, and tasks like typing just kind of felt scrunched up. But now it's much lighter and it's sized perfectly. I feel like people who are interested in getting a foldable phone, but still want the phone to feel familiar and normal during use, are gonna love this one. But I do have a case though for the Flip 7 that I recently got in, which is perfect timing. So big thank you to Ablazon for sponsoring this portion of the video, because when I do use a case, it definitely has to have MagSafe and it has to be slim. This one thankfully has both. So I can still use this with my different stands and accessories because I am always, switching between devices. Plus the case, it's magnetic in general. I can pretty much put this on any metal surface. This built-in kickstand, it's hidden in the hinge. Like, that is so crafty. It doesn't add much thickness either. It's offered in this color and frost black, but I will say this one right here is my favorite so far. And I got one like this for the Fold 7 too. It was just nice to be able to use my phone here with this stand and just preview my YouTube videos, because that's what I like to
watch when I, have some downtime. But oh my God, is that a book?
And of course, I'm gonna have this link down below in that description box for y'all. Now, I haven't fully jumped into the Z Flip 7, but I did give it a quick test run, so we're gonna dive more into that in a different video. But thankfully, both of the latest foldables from Samsung are great. However, for me, it is something currently right now about the Z Fold 7 that is doing it for me. The cameras up here, though, they are pretty decent. It does have its struggle points with lighting or just simply washing things out a bit more than my liking. I do know filming in RAW can be helpful because it gives you more control of the image, and it also now works for the front camera. But most of the time, I just take the exposure down a bit, which works for the most part. The camera is also pretty much the same as that on the S25 Ultra. So if you're familiar with the results of that camera, then you will be familiar with the results of this camera. But for those who are not, here are a few examples of what you can expect. The camera sometimes it does soften the image a little bit, especially when it's in tougher lighting conditions or when there's any movement. It's like this noticeable blur or kind of jitter, so to speak. But one thing that I absolutely love doing up here though is showing people themselves on the cover screen when I take their picture, because it always gets this like genuine reaction of their smile, and the fact that when they wave at the camera, which is something they kind of like naturally just do, it then takes their photo and then just gives a nice authentic reaction in the moment. It's by using a gesture to like signal to the camera that you want it to take your picture. So you just hold your hand up and it'll snap. But a feature for me that sounds cool in theory, but I just haven't used it as much, is Gemini. Like, I got my scenarios and when it proves useful, but like I gotta remember that it's here, you know? Like, I featured a tote in my recent monthly phase, linked in one of these corners. But I featured a tote in there, and I couldn't remember the model of it because I got it a couple of years ago, and I ended up like using Gemini to help me find it online. So I took a photo of it, and surprisingly, it worked and was able to locate it. So if you long press the home button at the bottom, it's gonna pull up Circle to Search, or you can interact with Gemini by long holding this side button here, and it will let you talk to Gemini or use your camera to actually have much like a conversation with it about what you're seeing and what you need help with. In a scenario, if you see something that you like and you want to be able to like buy it online or something like that, hopefully you should be able to pull up Gemini and get it to find it for you. So you press the button here to pull it up, and you can either share your screen with Gemini or put your question in here, but I don't want it listening right now, so let me go here, there, pull up the camera.
Okay, I see the dashboard of your Mercedes. It looks like you're getting ready to drive. Are you having any issues with the car?
No. What is this in my hand?
That's a Louis Vuitton wallet. Do you have a question about it?
Yes, where can I buy it?
You can buy Louis Vuitton wallets at their official store or online. There are also some department stores that carry their products, but you'll want to make sure they're an authorized retailer to avoid fakes.
But it can do so much more than what I am using it for, but I do still have to explore those things. But what I've enjoyed my Z Fold 7 most for is completing computer or tablet-like tasks from it. Things I would normally put my phone down to go sit at a computer and do. Like using Notion on it is a really big thing for me. This is the app that I currently run my business out of. It's one of those I prefer to sit at my computer and use. However, being able to open the phone up to a larger screen for viewing things, it helps. And I know there's Dex as well, but it's not something that I've really used my phone for. But I have been enjoying pulling up something like YouTube or Chrome on one side and Notion on the other. This is perfect for my brain dumps and researching. I also like to put my social media apps in my edge drawer. It keeps them out of sight, but still easy to access as it is a part of what I need for work. And using this right now for my DJI Pocket 3 has been a lifesaver. Having a phone that can open up to a larger screen has been really useful for previewing what my camera sees in the DJI Mimo app. So this lets me get a preview of what this sees up here. I do like to keep the DJI Mimo app on my home screen for quick access, but this is how I have set up my phone so far. I changed my clock on the lock screen a bit and I'm using Niagara Launcher. The Samsung Launcher is fine, but I just like the simplicity of this one. I can search for the apps that I need by using the letters on the side with quick access to my favorite ones on the home screen. And I think I got my wallpaper from Pinterest because that's at least where I go the most for them. And you know, my content creator guide, it does look really good up here too. If you've wanted to start creating content but unsure where to start, I've made the content creator guide. It's got my go-to gear, filming tips, and the workflow that I use to stay consistent. It'll be links below for you. But knowing me, I will probably be updating the setup on my phone soon when I have some more time to do so. Maybe a what's on my Z Fold 7 video for y'all. I don't know. Y'all let me know down below in the comments though. But outside of all of that, I can get a full day's use of the phone before I have to charge it. So the battery life is the same as the previous Z Fold 6. But one thing that will not get old for me is being able to look at certain things on the inner screen that I would normally have to look at on a smaller screen when I'm out, like food menus when I'm out to eat, websites when I'm shopping, which makes interacting on multiple platforms at once that much more easier, maybe even more enjoyable. These little conveniences add up quickly the more scenarios it just helps in. And that crease, it is not very noticeable for me. It's not something I pay attention to or jumps out at me when I'm viewing content, but the speakers are decent. Nothing I'd rave about though. Usage up here is super smooth. There's no lag. Everything is responsive. And that's all thanks to the Qualcomm Snapdragon 8 Elite. AI tasks are quick and gaming is smooth. But something though that is a little bit annoying for me are the accidental touches. I don't know if it's a me thing or a we thing, but I am constantly accidentally triggering something. Especially when the phone is unfolded, I've accidentally deleted information from my Notion page that I really needed. I've accidentally signed out of Spotify. So like for me, when these touch sensitivity things happen, it is in a, scenario where the mistake is significant, So that has been a bit annoying for me. I do wish there was some way that I could adjust it. I know there's a way to adjust the touch sensitivity if you're using a screen protector, which I'm not. But I don't know how I can dial it back a bit. just take it down a few notches. Overall, it's been a really great experience with the new Z Fold 7. The tablet and phone vibe in one is extremely hard to beat, especially when you top it with the features that are packed in this. Like I love my iPhone, but I love this experience. I know switching platforms, it can be a nightmare to the point that you don't want to do it. I even made a whole video on that, on how to switch. But in short, if you're using Google's platform for your information, like your calendar events, contacts, things like that, it helps a ton when you're moving between devices, as a lot of Google apps play nicer than iCloud. All of that to say though, do I recommend this phone? Yes, I do recommend it. I absolutely love it, especially for my business professionals who find themselves carrying a phone and a tablet to get work done, or my creative professionals who could use a bigger screen than their typical phone. I would highly suggest that y'all give this one a try. But pricing, it starts at $2,000, so it is not cheap by any means. And it definitely makes you consider your phone options, because with that price tag, you could probably get a new phone and a tablet. Or you could just get this and have it all in one. I'd love to see it priced a little bit lower, I feel like it would be even nicer to see this in the hands of even more people. Students, y'all might even enjoy this if the price tag isn't a detour. But the 8-inch inner display is always gonna be great for multitasking and media with a regular front screen for quick use. S Pen, RIP. It was nice while we had you, but in this scenario, I feel like the main time I will probably use it is when I'm on a cover screen and I'm doing like tasks that require a lot of refinement, like editing of any form, whether that be photo or videos. That's when I'd want it, and potentially on the inner display. But I will say, without having the S Pen, you know, as an option, it is nice to then be able to open up to the inner display because it's like a nice compromise, so to speak, and not having it. But y'all let me know though, would you trade in your existing phone for the new Z Fold 7 if price wasn't a factor? Y'all let me know, because I'm curious, like genuinely curious, how many of y'all might swap out? But nonetheless, we're gonna chat about that in the comments. But until the next one, y'all, you can always check me out on Instagram to stay in touch at TECHME0UT. And as always, thanks for taking the time out to let me tech you out.